Man, sleeping on the cement was not the smartest idea overall. Even with the memory foam, it was just very uncomfortable. So, I guess next time I'm going to have to pick a site that's dirt, because cement was just not happening. There was a guy who made a movie projector out of like a white paper thing, or one of those white presentation things that I was going to use for those little crosses I never sold. But a guy had a really pretty little projector, and he was gonna watch movies out in the nature, watching movies out in nature. And boy, he likes to chit chat. He was chitty chatting when I woke up. He was still chit chatting. I think it was like almost 1 a.m. It was almost 1 a.m. And it was like, boy, he's the happiest man on earth, I swear. But yeah, I think I'm going to rethink cement. I decided to go to the car at like 1 a.m. around 1 a.m. Mostly because it was the idea of the gods. The gods are so good at being my babysitter and taking care of me. They were like, let's just get up now at like 1. And then when it's time to take a shower at like 5 or whatever, it won't be such a big deal to try to figure out how to take a shower. Man, the lake is not all barricaded up. It was a weird day to come to the lake, man. It was all barricaded, all kinds of stuff. Had a lot of shitty people. There was a lot of shitty, gross people. So I guess I should make sure there's nothing going on at the lake. It tends to bring in garbage, I guess, as well as amazing people and everything else. I don't really like to be around gross people. I don't want to listen to people talk about how their kids are stupid all day. I already grew up with the family chosen by the devil. Some people, there was some people, and they were like talking to their kids and be like, "You stupid, you fucking." It's like, oh, I already grew up in a nightmare, and I already had to get killed and raped by countries and more, and I already was stuck with a family the devil loved for a reason, and a very, very old, very bad devil. I don't need to listen to people insult their kids to enjoy, how it makes them not want to feel like they're amazing by 20 and shit. I don't need to analyze why Tom and Jerry murder each other because some bad devil and really bad people knew it does really bad things to kids when they're like 20 and shit. And I have no doubt that when you could not put subliminal I have no doubt that when you could not put subliminal messages everywhere, you could probably now put really gross things just in a song secretly and shit. Like, I don't need to wonder that this is a bad place. I don't need to be around people like that. I already know it's a bad place. It was like, you knew the United States and Dubai did it, or I just had a really bad day in choices. So I punished the United States and Dubai on overload because they never stop stalking or doing just the most criminally disgusting, sickening things. And then I thought, well, I'll just put a ton of shit in everybody's soul about what they actually deserve based on who they actually are. Because, like, I'm a dead god. I can kill them. They could be dead by the time I wake up. I don't have to be subjected to a bunch of loudmouth, obnoxious, fuck you, overloaded weirdos and shit. Or violent offender people that are so excited to abuse their kids constantly and shit. So here I go. I like to talk honestly about all things. There's no reason not to talk about the fact that there are kids getting beat up or beat on, or because, maybe somebody will change. Maybe not. maybe somebody will run to gods and realize, death is a real place. Maybe not. But at least you're always talking like everything good or bad is not surprising to God. But I have watched foster care rape children to death and murder children. I have watched the district attorneys rape children to death and murder children. These countries have just raped to death and murdered tons of animals, children, and people and more. Among raping my death or murdering my death all the time. So, till they're dead, till everybody is just so god-awful dead that couldn't murder the death of God or something. I doubt anything's going to be that much of a dream. So you just quote the truth and people are going to do whatever they're going to choose to do. And if it means a lot, you just got to live on the power of God and keep telling people to live on my queen, my queen, my queen, because what else is there? No, but there was a big topic. Through the trackers in my brain or something in my brain, they wanted to bring up Michael Patterson's wife and Joanna, the people that murdered the death of God the most and are now more criminally guilty than the worst evil God enemies we have ever had as gods. And all these gods were watching my unending liquid death just curdle and get so gross and so. And all these other gods, there was a bunch of other gods looking at how much death shows up in their soul for bringing up how gross they know they are and what they did and the fact that they know they did it. I was like, at some point, when all those punishments, every time they refuse not to exist because they know they murdered the death of God and it's so exciting to exist when you're so fucking criminally sickening. When those punishments hit, I'm going to have a very happy freedom type of existence. But until then, probably not. Well, what can you do? Keep killing. Enjoy that you're God and you won. But they learned how to die a lot. So you got to sit on the top of... So you sit on the death of gods. Shove it up everybody's ass down here. Sit on the death of angels. Shove it up everybody's ass down here. Sit on the death of pretty much everything guilty with these countries. Shove it up the ass of everything down here. And at some point, you'll find freedom and peace and get out of and away from these fucking things. But like, that's about it. But that's why there is no freedom, there is no peace. Because is there really freedom and peace in screaming liquid death that doesn't even work? No. So that's why the Bible says there will be no peace, because the punishments just make you in sickening, suffering of death and sickening shit forever. But that's how I get free as a god and get out of this thing. And it was their punishments anyway. They have to die worse than the worst of all my death and more forever. Right from the beginning, so it was part of their life and death for doing it anyway. You know what? The work of God when it's the barbaric side, they weren't going to stop murdering or anything else. They're a country that can murder and shit. They weren't going to stop. They were going to have to be killed forever. Then they have to be killed forever anyway. Their crimes are that serious. And there is nothing else. There never was. So I just keep plugging away. Well, whatever. I got to try out the tent. The tent's nice and it's good enough. You can stretch out your legs, but it's not good on cement. The memory foam and the blankets are really, really nice. If the tent's on dirt or something, I bet maybe I'll try that. I don't really want to buy anything else you have to use to lay on, but like if I have to, but I don't have to. That's all I did. So all I did was sleep a little bit on this vent, sleep a little bit in the car. Of course, sleeping in the car was heaven, this memory foam and blanket are so soft and so fluffy. Like with this blanket and this memory foam, you can sit and it's so cuddly and it's so soft. So, whatever. When I'm sleeping near my truckers to see who travels all the way out to touch the car to get a miracle or something, this is going to be a nice, comfy bed. Or a nice, comfy type of bed to sleep in. And whatever. You make the best with what you got as a God, because I didn't come down here for anything good. And then you just focus on the children of God and husbands and the ones that actually are good and normal. And you just keep plugging away. So I'm on my way to go be there at 8:30 for that Jesus Ramirez guy and see if I can qualify to get another car. But if I can't, I can't. But if I can, I will. It was fun to use my powers. There was a few monumentally amazing people, so it was fun to put my powers on the amazing and worthy and be able to say hi and stuff. The times, amen. Sorry. I was zoning out, man. Just tired as fuck. That cement was really good on my back, but every other which way, even when you're sleeping, I guess you don't get the most restful sleep because like it's not comfortable. But whatever. It's still fun because it's something different to do. But I forgot to talk to you guys, children of God, a little bit about the cages. The spiritual cages make sure that they are only stuck in bad. So yeah, when you become 666, you're in the book of death without possibility of life or hope. Being in the 666, you have to do very serious criminal things. When you're stuck in that spiritual cage without hope or possibility of being in a book of life ever again, it like starts a spinning process. That spinning process in your soul creates a magnetic overload connected to the spiritual cage that they're stuck in. And it gravitates and pulls all bad things into their soul forever. So the 666 can have as much bad as they want, but nothing else. And if you get near the 666, you have to die as much as them. Gods don't allow the aiding, abetting, or befriending of the worst enemies of God. So then you get stuck in all the death and stuff, and it's really scary. And that is the bad ones. If they're the good ones, okay, so the bad ones at the end of the world are 666. If they're like a child of God, a godly child, a child of Jesus, and they're like the best of a child of Buddha, a child of the Chinese dragon, and they're like the best of the best people on earth and the best souls, they get stuck in a paradise box. The paradise box calls all power and goodness from everywhere like a magnet. So you either are the best good ones, and I think they have some kind of symbol or something on their forehead. The best good ones are in a box that pulls all good things, or the best powerful, amazing good things, and the bad ones sit in the worst things. And there's nothing else. They're just stuck in these boxes. And then if they were mine, they are part of the biggest entourage you'll probably ever see. Except if there's like a box down here from like somebody that wanted to be like the child of a forefather, the child of a psychic elder, some of those psychic elders and forefathers are like the biggest, oldest, giant founding father gods ever known and stuff. That's when you'll see a box or a situation similar to mine, but I think they're all boxes. Mine's a little bit like a box bubble thing because circular is more conducive to my powers. But those would be the biggest ones that magnetically pull the biggest amount of everything good. That would be the ones that ended up mine on mine. And yeah, you got to get used to the end of the world. It's really, 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 really good times for good people, and really, 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 really bad times for bad people. And like, nobody knows who's good or bad. Because one person might scream and yell at their kids, but like it's just their personality. It's just scream and yell at their husband, their kids, everything when they're mad or grumpy or something. And then another person might scream and yell at their kids because they enjoy that when you scream and yell at your kids, you're fucking up their adult life and making them all fucked up when they get to be adults. You don't know who people are, and people will never tell you their secrets and crimes and sins. So that's why us gods blast and blast and blast their secrets and stuff all the time. So that, once again, you know what kind of person you're around and whether you'd even want to, like, be around them and be able to have that choice of what kind of friends or friendships you guys keep, or what kind of friendships you make to try to make them better people. Another thing is if you decide to stay next to a friend that's kind of shitty, now you know all their sins and secrets and crimes. You can maybe try to influence them to like become different people or whatever. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't, but it's fun to try. It's always fun to be the light of God and try. It's always fun to try to say things that make people want to be better people and keep trying. But by the time they're 666 out, it's just over. There's no hope for them. And remember that the end of the world is a spiritual force forcing everyone to live or die or make the choices that make them live or die once and for all. So it's kind of a scary time where every god and every power and every bad power is kind of in your brain permanently trying to drive you to live or die once and for all. So watch out for those kind of things too. You know when your thoughts are what you would always think. And when your thoughts are getting a little out there and you're like, I would never think like this, but I'll play games in it, but it's probably a bad devil. But I'll play games in it, but you're probably a bad devil. But I can make the devil that makes me do everything, or he's going to hurt Jesse Arias type babies all day, believe shit and playing it. But like, unless you want to play games with bad devils that put bad thoughts in your head and stuff, most of the time you want to identify when powerful bad things want to put something in your head or make you think things. And you want to be more of like a person that says, no, I'm going to decide what's in my brain. And if I want to think bad thoughts or violent thoughts or any thoughts, I want to pick what I want to pick. Because just like a haunted house, 9 times out of 10, most of those thoughts are not even how you feel at that moment. Some bad devil or stupid fucking bad demon just wants to fill you with like violent bad shit and get you to run around being a fuck and shit. Most of the time you can be like, well, I don't even choose to be mad right now, so I know these are not my thoughts, just fuck off. Half the reality of being everything is just basic desire to be something, and work hard through my queen, or forces that can help you and help you force your own life you want and help the force of the life you want to be the bigger, better goodness out there. So like I said, I'll just talk about all different kind of things because it might influence somebody to talk to gods where they normally don't want to. It might influence everybody to be braver around gods when they're not. You never know. But yeah, some of them are so criminally sickening. But they're never gonna tell you that. So you just say, well, whatever. And some are 666. You know, you wouldn't even want to move them. So kind of just tromp through life, man. Trying to do the best. I thought I'd ramble a little bit because the children of God prayed really good last night about a lot of things they were contemplating about. So a lot of children of God had a lot of contemplations, and they were praying around the world about a lot of really beautiful, important things. So I thought, well, I'm going to ramble a little bit because it seems to make children of God think about what it makes them think about. To roll around what they choose to think about. God's got in trouble, children of God. God's got in trouble for helping the United States in Dubai. So, gods were murdering with the United States in Dubai. Gods were aiding and abetting and murdering with the United States in Dubai. Gods were playing like the United States and Dubai were victims when they knew they were just murdering and altering themselves happily. Now, when gods get anywhere near the United States and Dubai, they're always in so much trouble really fast. So, that's going to help a ton. You don't sit and let gods make two murder-overloaded countries seem normal. That was creating a lot of the problems that were getting people to death all to themselves like it was nothing. Until they're already kind of gross and gone. So that's a good one, too, that might make you guys think of some kind of prayers as children of God. Or feel bad for the ones stuck with these murdering countries, trying to make the best of, still trying to pretend to be normal or whatever, around the most sickening dead people ever known. Maybe you'll think of some prayers of that. Until next one, children of God.